The next question is about suppressing zeros. So how can zero values be suppressed on reports?
So here we have a simple report, not particularly meaningful. We've just got some repeated numbers, but the important thing is we've got some rows that have zero. So how can we suppress the zeros? So you'll see here we've got a zero suppression section to the ribbon. Now, effectively, the way you do it is you define the area of the book or the sheet that contains your zeros. So can you see there, we've defined what we call a suppression range. Now, the easiest way to do this is actually just to select the range and hit the suppress button. But the reason I wanted to show you that definition is the first time you hit the suppress button, it will say to you, there is no suppression range defined. Would you like me to create one for you? So that little example where I went in and showed you how to define the suppression range, this is doing that for us automatically. I click on OK. It creates a definition, the zero suppression range, and can you see that the zeros have now all disappeared? And you can see that we can unsuppress and resuppress. And if I go back into define suppression, you can see it's remembered the range that when we said yes, that was the range that was selected. Now, why do we store a suppression range rather than just always suppressing the current set of cells that you've got selected? Well, it means that you can be anywhere in the workbook and the unsuppress and the resuppress still works. So you don't always have to go select, resuppress. It'll just remember the suppression range that you created the first time. If you want to clear it, you can just go in and clear the suppression range, click on OK, and you're back to having no suppression range. So again, the next time you choose suppress, it will ask you the question. Now, as an alternative, again, to going through and setting the suppression range through here, we have this quick set option. And that allows you to choose the range and do set suppression range. And again, you'll see that that's pulled that through into that suppression range setting. You'll also see we have this exclude range. What's that used for? Typically, that's handy where you've got dates going across the top. So if I've got January and then I've got February going across the top and so on, the problem that you've got there is Excel sees these as numbers. And so it messes around with the suppression engine. So the best way to make sure that the zero suppression doesn't pick those top rows up is actually to create what we call an exclude range. So you'll see now when I've got when I go into the define suppression screen, we've got a suppression range and an exclude range. So the software now knows that it's working its way down these 4 columns, but because rows 1 to 3 are defined in the exclude range, it will ignore those rows. What we were finding is sometimes there are use cases where people want to hide those dates. And what we were finding without the exclude range is that those were always coming back, and that got annoying. So by using the exclude range, you can hide your values and then they're not brought back by the software mistakenly. So just to go over that again, we've created a suppression range and an exclude range. You can set them automatically using the suppress button the first time you go in, or you can use the quick set option to set them and also to clear them.
Great.
Hope that makes
Thanks,
sense.
Simon.